Hi everybody, it's Little Prepper Lady here. Today is Monday, June 24th. It's 2019 and this is our last week here in California. So we're trying to get our last few things in that we really wanted to do while we were here, things that we wanted to check out. Because we only have our rental car until tomorrow. And then after that, we're on our own as far as, getting around different places. So today we went to the Long Beach Aquarium and we got to see all the cool fish and touch some sharks and stingrays. So that was really cool. And let me tell you, Long Beach is much more, there's still, the homeless people and all of that kind of stuff, but Long Beach seems to be a little bit more clean than around here in Venice Beach area. I haven't been to Santa Monica yet. That'll probably be a trip for one of these next coming up days. Unfortunately, the entire time that we've been here in California, the weather has been in the 60s. The wind has been 15 miles an hour at the ocean, which is literally 100 feet that direction. And it's been cold. I haven't gotten in the water. I stuck my toes in and that was it. I didn't actually swim in the water. My kids have been in there and Brian hasn't even put his feet in it, just because it's been so cold. I was expecting, it to be a little bit warmer here because it is the West Coast, but unfortunately that's not the case. It appears that it's not going to be super sunny until Thursday here, so that is, probably going to be a beach day, and then we check out on Friday around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We have to be to the airport and get on our plane at 4:30 back to New York. So I'm ready to go home. I have been here since Wednesday, so it hasn't even been 7 days, and I've done the things that I've wanted to do, and I actually do not feel good. I haven't felt good for a couple of days, so I don't know if it's the difference in the air quality or just the fact that we've been go, go, go since we've been here, but you can hear it in my voice, and I just haven't been feeling great. So, and of course that kind of ruins your vacation when you start not feeling well and the kids want to get out and do different things, but you don't feel good. So it is what it is. We'll make the best of it. And, at least we got to come to California. We can say that we've been to California. So, but being at the aquarium today made me think about the ocean water. And we all know, what happened in 2011 in Japan with Fukushima. So I did some research because I didn't really know a whole lot about it. It's not something that actually affects me too much, so I didn't do a whole lot of research on it because I, live far from an ocean, and especially the West Coast. We live across country. And also, I don't eat seafood. I eat tuna. But besides that, I don't eat any other seafood. I don't like fish or anything. Yes, I've tried everything. It's not for me. So I didn't really pay too much attention to what was going on in that, but I did read some articles today. So I can't decide, if it's affecting things or if it's not affecting things. And here's the issue with that. So some articles say, that it could affect us, and some articles say that it could not affect us. And some of the articles that I was looking at say that the radiation levels that they've been testing, and actually they stopped testing in 2015. So honestly, we don't know, right now, what the levels are. A lot of the places that were testing after the incident happened did stop their testing. So you probably hear Samantha. She's out on the balcony on the phone yelling at people. Teenagers, they're always on their phone. But they stopped the testing in 2015, and they were saying that the radiation levels weren't anything of a public health concern. However, Fukushima is still leaking every single day 300 tons of nuclear water into the Pacific Ocean. So, is it going to cause an effect on our fish? Is it going to cause an effect on the sea life? Is it going to eventually cause harm to humans? I think yes, yes, and yes. And the reason being, it's not an immediate thing, especially when something is all the way across the country and, it happens. It takes a long time for it to travel across the world to get to the West Coast. Those fish are migrating in all sorts of different areas throughout the entire ocean. So you just don't know where they're going to show up. You might catch one fish, on the northern part of the West Coast, and it might not show any radiation. You might catch a fish down at the southern part, more towards Mexico, and that might show higher levels of radiation. So it just depends. Those are all things that you have to look into and be concerned about. Now, as far as public health concern is, with the air quality, okay, that I can understand. But radiation levels do cause cancer. Any type of radiation level will cause some type of cancer, maybe not a deadly cancer, maybe not anything that makes you sick to the point, but having that radiation in your body increases the level of you getting cancer. And that goes for any type of radiation, whether it's an X-ray, whether it's, eating radioactive fish. It doesn't matter. Radiation is radiation no matter how you look at it, whether it's a small amount or a large amount. You don't want radiation in your body. It's not good for your body. The human body is not made to have radiation. So just because they say that it's not a public health concern, just because they say eating the fish that has low levels of this, I think it's cesium. Let me look at the article that I was reading. Let me see. I think it's cesium-137. If I remember correctly, which is a form of radiation. Yes, cesium-137. So even if you're eating just small amounts of that, or you're only in the ocean for a little bit of time, yes, it's not going to show up immediately, but you have that potential for developing that risk of cancer later on in life when that level of radiation goes through your body and continues to build up in your body, because we can't break those kind of things down. So that's something that we all have to be cautious of. Here was another thing that I read, and this kind of got my attention. So it says on there, one of the signs is all of the lack of sea life on the beaches. When you're on a beach, you normally see like crabs or shells or, seaweed, different things, because as the tide comes in and then it comes off, it brings things with it and leaves it on the shore. I haven't seen any of that. I haven't seen any decent sized shells the entire time that we've been to the beach. There's a reason for that. I haven't seen, the seaweed and things like that. I've seen little bits of it, but nothing compared to what everybody said would be on the beach. I remember going to Virginia Beach probably 9 years ago, and there were shells and crabs and stuff all over the place. There were quite a few shells that I did find while we were in Florida, but out here, I'm not seeing that. So could Fukushima have an effect on the living organisms in the ocean and is causing that to happen? Very well could be. I don't know. I'm not an expert on it. Like I said, I didn't have any interest in this until I came here and started thinking about it. And all of these things started clicking in my head. Like, why am I not seeing this? I thought there would be crabs on the beach. I thought there would be different things on the beach that I would see. I thought I would see, seashells, and I thought I would see oysters and things like that. And I'm just not seeing those things. And there's not very many birds either. When you think of a beach, when you think of going to the beach, you think of seagulls everywhere. I haven't seen a whole lot of seagulls. Is it because of the weather? Maybe. But the weather is not deterring people from coming out, and that's what attracts birds is food. People with food. Everybody brings food to the beach. I haven't seen it. So these are just kind of things that are going through my mind, and I'm going, does this have an effect? Is this having an effect? Is this doing something to the West Coast? Not just specifically California, but the entire West Coast. Is it causing issues with the wildlife? Is it causing issues with the fish? Are the fish way more radioactive than what they're letting on because they don't want to cause a panic? Quite possibly. Is there nothing to worry about? Quite possibly. We just don't know. And we're not going to get the whole story because they're not going to tell us the whole story because they want to keep us dumbed down, looking at our phones and doing our thing and not caring about anything that's going on in the world around us and not being concerned because, okay, let's put it this way. Let's say the radiation levels are way higher than what they're putting off. And people are eating contaminated fish caught off the coast. in all of these restaurants around here, and quite frankly all over the United States, because they don't just eat it here, it gets shipped all over, maybe all over the world, I have no idea. But let's say they're eating that and people are developing cancer, people are developing issues with memory loss, people are developing bone issues. There's all sorts of different health effects that could happen, and are these things skyrocketing and they're not telling us? Quite possibly. And it would be a good scenario, because that's going to make doctors' offices and physicians and clinicians and everything else and the pharmaceutical companies more money. So it all comes down to that. Is that a possibility? Absolutely. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards. I'm leaning towards them, not researching it anymore and saying, oh, everything's fine, there's nothing to worry about. You're just being, scared for no reason, just because something happened and you hear all of these things. But I feel like we should be a little concerned about the things that are going on in our oceans. That's an entire ecosystem, and every ecosystem lives off of every other ecosystem. So if something terrible is going on in that ecosystem, it's going to eventually affect the rest of the ecosystems. And that's another thing that we have to think about. So these are just things that are popping in my head as far as thinking about this. I want to hear your guys' comments on what you think is going on with the whole Fukushima thing, knowing that it's still going on, knowing that it could take a long time before it actually is completely stopped and everything's fine with it. And what do you think the long-term effects of this are going to be? Do you think it's not really a long-term effect? Do you think everything's fine? Or do you think it's going to have devastating long-term effects that are going to put more money in big businesses? So let me know. I'm reading comments. Like I said, I'm not feeling very good, so I'm kind of just going through my phone reading comments, and I haven't really responded just because there's a lot. But I definitely want to hear what you have to think about this subject, every other subject. Any other things you want me to touch on while I'm out here, I can probably research them and talk to people and see what they have to say once I get out and about, probably tomorrow. But as always, guys, always remember, everything does happen for a reason. Whether you're having a good day or a bad day, you're in a good situation or a bad situation, just stick with it. You're on that journey for a reason. Everything's going to be okay. Also, always remember, forget about the past. There isn't anything that we can do about the past other than learn and grow and be better people. Hi, Cameron. Hi. Be focused on the future while be living in the now. Be living, be loving, be laughing, be enjoying your life right now, and be loving the ones that are closest to you, because tomorrow's not guaranteed. We all could not be here tomorrow. So it's important that we're living our lives right now while we're staying focused on the future. Stop picking on me. That's all I've got for you guys today. Maybe I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.